Can you please look up this site?
See if we can figure out something.
Oops. Let's try that again.
Can you please look up this site?
See if we can figure out something.
Hi guys. Bug here very early. Should be done soon. Just wanted to say hi. Morning, Steve. Morning, Paula Mac. Morning, Jen. It's afternoon for me. It's lunchtime. Is this better than the library and Jurassic Park? Check how weird my hands go. My office should be done by this evening because my cousin is staying tomorrow. And so the painting, just the first part of it. I'm not muraling today. I'm working today. I have, let's see. Let me just move that aside. I want to see what this is. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 things that I want to do before I call it a day. And I'd estimate they're probably about they're each about probably an hour to an hour and a half. So if it's 1 o'clock now, it's about over 4 hours. So I'm going to have to move my pom-poms. Shake my pom-poms. Nice background. Thanks. I thought it makes more sense if it's a studio. I had one that said on air, but when you put it on StreamYard, it flips it. Because that on air sign I have in my streams normally, that is like all I ever wanted with the podcast. I wanted the podcast with the on air sign. I've got new earphones. They're Jabras. You can't see them, which is nice. But this one is hurting my ear, and I'm trying to figure out like if it's because the thing is too small or I don't know. Okay, so this judge has done us a solid and it's still available, but I need to figure out now at what point we stopped off. Okay, I think this is closing. So this is interesting. Also, Lisa isn't here, but Lisa is such a superstar. She stayed and watched and got the verdict, and yeah, she said she's not going to spoil it. I have to say, because I had it, I was keeping a backup while it was playing, and I had a little bit of the closings in my ears. No, but I don't think I've opened Instagram today yet, and you may very well be in message requests. Ah, Steve, you are such a legend. Thank you. Yes, it was in message requests, which I forget about way too often. No, don't worry, Jennifer. We're going to play it now. We're going to play it now. Don't worry. Thank you. This is what I was doing up to the point of the end of closing. And then I left it running. It cut 10 hours, but it's still up. So let me screen share. I have to tell you guys this. Closing may have swayed me. It may actually have swayed me. Let's see. Is this closing? Wait a second.
Judge just read to you is the definition of a bat.
In the ordinary and usual, instead, for you to find the defendant as to each material prove its accusation defendant
purposefully and against his will.
Argument is not stable, but one some other time, but the state is entitled to divide.
Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you.
Okay. Don't worry, Jen. I wouldn't like cut off. I will make a plan. If I can get my hands on something, I will. I need to just put this little banner up. And then I want to just move myself because I'm like way in the way here. Morning, Josh. Okay, so let's go. Closings, starting with prosecution. And like I said, the defense did maybe sway me a little.
To you that count or that element, as well as the count of battery, has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. What was the testimony that you heard today? You heard from Sydney Love that when the defendant had the knife and was coming at him, that he was backing up, that he was in fear. You heard testimony that it was purposefully and intentionally of the defendant hitting Sydney Love against his will. You heard from Jasmine Otero that it was the defendant that threw the first punch. You can see on the video, it's the defendant when he walks out the door and throws the first punch. That is touching or striking Sydney Love against his will. You have more than that, though. This is an instance of that. You have more than just the first time. You have, after the first instance, I call that kind of the swinging and the missing. There was some contact, dodging. Remember Sydney Love, you saw in the video, he comes back in, he has his phone. He walks back to the entrance and they're still having words, or you can tell that he's talking. But remember all the testimony that you heard about this. Who was the aggressor? What's the testimony that you heard about that? It was the defendant. He was upset. You heard from Ashley Cloud, his girlfriend, fiance, significant other of 8 months. She had blocked him. She wasn't responding to his phone calls or his texts. She had blocked him. And what did he do? That man right there. What did he do? He went to the Dollar General. Did you notice on the video? He didn't buy anything. He didn't go up and down an aisle. He wasn't there shopping. He was there for Ashley Cloud, buddy. She was ignoring him and he didn't like it. You got to watch on the video for about 13 minutes, them arguing. Do you remember the part where Ashley Cloud tried to walk away and he pulled her back? Antoine, when he finally saw what was going on and had enough, and he went up there, he was standing back here by self-checkout watching his mama and the defendant. And he went and he got in between them. And he tried to get Demetrius away, the defendant. What did he do? What did that man do? He walked back to Ashley Cloud and was still giving her what for. And then what did he do after that? He went to the register where Sydney Love was. And what did Jasmine tell you? Called him the P word. That man, these are his actions. That's what he's doing that night. Do you remember what Sydney Love had been doing? He was outside. He was on his phone. He was smoking a cigarette. He came back in. He checked out someone. He got a card. He brought the card into like the lane. He went back outside, played on his phone, got another card, brought it inside. Some items fell off one time of the cart, checks out another lady. He's not in Ashley Cloud and Demetrius Riley's business for 13 minutes while she's at work. She's at work. Sydney Love's at work. Jasmine and Antoine are there getting dog food, and he's there because he is upset. Everybody else has a reason to be there except him. And his reason is to fight with his girlfriend. He's mad at her. You saw it. You got to see it. You got to see all the video that existed of it. He goes up to Sydney Love. Where was he after he had been fighting with Ashley Cloud for 13 minutes? Sydney Love's behind the register doing his job. they have words? Yes, absolutely. They go outside. You heard the testimony from Sydney Love. I didn't have a problem with him before. I knew he was mad because he thought I had something going on with his girlfriend. We didn't have a problem. You got to see on the video them go outside. You can see part of the initial fight, interaction between them. Absolutely. Sydney Love is there. He's not sure what's happening. He takes it outside with him. You get to see after that. They are apart from each other. Demetrius Riley, the testimony from Sydney Love is he goes and that's when he gets the knife. And he comes back and in its 4B, you can see Sydney Love running backwards and the defendant coming forwards. They do that. The testimony from the witnesses that they saw, it continues on into the parking lot and Sydney Love gets stabbed. He gets stabbed right here in the left arm. And remember the testimony from Jasmine Otero. What did she tell you? That man appeared to her was swinging for his head and he put his hand up like this. And that's when he got stabbed. That is actually and intentionally touching Sydney Love against his will. When someone is backing up and you've got a knife coming at him, I submit to you that that is actually and intentionally, and we know he touched him because you heard all the testimony and you saw the wound. And the second element, which makes this the aggravated battery, is that he used a deadly weapon. And you will get to look at all this, you'll get the photographs. If you'd like to see the knife, we can let you do that. You should wear gloves. It's got DNA, it's been tested, but you're welcome to look at it. Again, it is a deadly weapon. The manner in which this was used, it is a knife. You've seen the photographs of it. And the manner in which it was used. And in the instruction the judge just read to you says, a deadly weapon is an object that will likely cause death or great bodily harm if used or threatened to be used in the ordinary and usual manner contemplated by its design and construction. An object not designed to inflict bodily harm may nonetheless be a deadly weapon if it was used or threatened to be used in a manner likely to cause death or great bodily harm. You saw on the video, arm raised, Sydney backing up. You heard the testimony of Sydney Love, the stabbing motions. You heard it from Jasmine Otero, the sideways with the knife he had, the knife he used. Every single witness said they did not see Sydney Love with a knife. The people that saw someone with a knife was in that man's hands. Once again, I stress to you, Sydney Love did not have a weapon. The judge read you an instruction about justifiable use of non-deadly force. Talks about a reasonably and cautious person. Remember the evidence that you heard, the videos that you saw, and the exhibits you get to take it back with you. I submit to you that none of that evidence in any way gave the defendant in this case a justifiable reason to use non-deadly force.
Mr. Hill.
Ding, 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 ding. Can I tell you something? It's not a crime to be mad that your fiance blocked you on the cell phone. It's not a crime to be mad that you can't get up with your fiance on the phone. It's not a crime to go to her place of employment to ask her, why have you blocked me? Why won't you answer your phone? It's not a crime, ladies and gentlemen. It is a normal human reaction to be mad or to be upset. If your significant other, if your husband, your wife, your fiance, whoever it may be, if that person blocks you from their phone and you're not able to get up to with them for no unknown reason, it is a normal human reaction to be upset. And it's not a crime to go talk to them, even if it is their place of employment. It's not a crime. The state wants you to believe that Mr. Riley went to the dollar store and he was so upset, and because of his anger at his fiancee, Miss Cloud, that he jumps on Sydney Love. Ladies and gentlemen, you watch the video. What do we see on the video? We see Sydney Love at the cash register, and we see Mr. Riley walk up there to the cash register. We can't hear what is being said between the two of them, but we can sure see the aftermath. And what do we see? This employee of the dollar store, who has been out in and out that door more times than I could count, sitting out there in this plastic chair on his cell phone when he's supposed to be working, but he's sitting out there on a plastic chair on his cell phone, smoking a cigarette. He's in and out, in and out. Oh, without, I might push this buggy in there with this and walk back out, walk back in. I'll push something else in there. I mean, this is this employee that we're talking about. He's standing there at the counter. Here comes Mr. Riley. And whatever is exchanged between the two of them, y'all saw Mr. Love's reaction. He didn't just turn around and walk back out that door the same way he had walked in and out of it many times before, as if nothing was wrong. How did he go out the door that time? He snatched them baggy britches up, boom, he's out the door, telling Mr. Riley to come on. Mr. Riley goes out the door with you. You can see on the video, what's Mr. Love doing when he gets outside? He's in the position. He's ready to go. We have Mr. Riley, we have Mr. Love. And I told you this morning when we started this trial, one thing was going to be for sure. There would be evidence of a fight between two willing, grown men. And that's what we saw. Mr. Love wasn't an innocent bystander. Mr. Love wasn't someone who didn't want to participate in what was going on. Mr. Love was very much willing to participate in the fight. That is evidenced by his demeanor. It's evidenced by his actions. He goes out there, participates in this fight. The state would have you believe that, oh, that's against his will. I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, every bit of evidence we've seen here today, by the video, from Mr. Love's reaction, that wasn't against his will. He was very much a willing participant in this fight. He might not like the outcome, the ultimate outcome. He might not have enjoyed that or liked that, but he was very much a willing participant. And I submit to you that none of this was against his will. Plain and simple. The evidence proves that. It certainly doesn't prove that it was against his will. But let's look at what happened. That we know, how do we know more about why this was, how Mr. Love was a willing participant? How it was not against his will? We had the initial little altercation, the punches thrown there outside the door. And what happens? That ends. And we see Mr. Love come back in the store, just inside the doorway. And we see Miss Ashley Cloud. She's made it to the front, and she's over here trying to lock the door. She's up here pushing the button. And you can see on the video that Mr. Riley he's outside, has never come back in the store. He's outside on the sidewalk, walking away. It's over. But what does Sydney Love do? All this is against his will. But what does he do? It ain't against his will, ladies and gentlemen. He takes his behind right back out the door, and he's running that mouth to Mr. Riley. He could have been done. If this was against his will, he could have been done with it. He'd have stayed his butt in the store, but he didn't. He goes back out the store, and he's running that mouth at Mr. Riley. And then Mr. Riley comes back, and they get into it again. We're still have two grown men willingly participating in a fight. Plain and simple. Now, the state would have you believe that when Mr. Riley walked away, when he come back with a knife. Let's think about the testimony we've heard here today from the witnesses. And you got to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, have you heard testimony from one credible person that when Mr. Riley walked away, he come back with a knife? What did we hear from our witnesses today? We heard from Mr. Love that Mr. Riley, when he walked off to a car in the parking lot and went inside that car and got his stuff. What did we learn about that car? We learned about that car belonged to Antoine Van and Jasmine Artero. What did they tell us? They told us that they come to the store alone. Mr. Riley didn't come to the store with them. So I guess Mr. Riley's just gonna go out to a car in the parking lot that he didn't come in, and there just happens to be a knife in that car that he gets out and goes back to attack Mr. Love with. I'm not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. This is a testimony we've heard. Mr. Van and Miss Otero both told you Mr. Riley did not go to that store with them. They went alone. But yet, Mr. Love wants you to believe that he went to their car and got the knife. And what else do we have about the credibility of the Oteros, or Miss Otero and Mr. Van? Well, we heard from several different stories about where Mr. Riley was at when they got there. We've heard one story that Mr. Riley was actually already inside the store talking to Miss Cloud when they got there. That story is obviously refuted by the video, because the video clearly shows Mr. Riley walking up. Mr. Van is next in line, and Miss Otero is just behind. She's third wheel, walking up. And she testified that when she got there, Mr. Riley was already inside the store talking to Miss Cloud. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the video if you take the pleasure to. When Miss Otero walked up to the door, she looks over to the right where Mr. Riley was over there talking to the other unknown female that we don't know who was. Mr. Riley wasn't in the store. Mr. Riley clearly came in the store after Miss Otero. So if Miss Otero is going to tell you a story about that, what else is she going to tell you a story about? Miss Otero also told you that it was let me check my notes here. I believe she said it was 10 minutes of it was heated the entire time. That's not what Mr. Van said. And ladies and gentlemen, we watched the video. Did those other customers who were taking care of business in the store, did they look or act like there was a heated exchange for 10 minutes going on between Miss Cloud and Mr. Riley? I'm not going to say there was an argument. We know why Mr. Riley was there. But a very heated exchange for 10 minutes, I submit to you that if it was that, as Mr. Otero described it, it would call the attention of the shoppers who were in the store. Well, some other inconsistencies we heard in the testimony. How was this knife allegedly being used? Well, first of all, I recall Mr. Love telling us that he doesn't know how he got stabbed. He doesn't know how he got stabbed. Ladies and gentlemen, if the person who received the injury to his arm can't tell you how he got stabbed, how could anybody else? Then what did we have? What did we hear? Well, we heard from Mr. Love that during this altercation and this tussling out in the parking lot, that at some point in time he's on the ground, and Mr. Riley is on top of him, and he's trying to block, but everything he can. And what does he say Mr. Riley's doing? Mr. Riley pounding away at him. That's one story we've got. Now, another story we've got is that Mr. Riley is doing the windshield wiper with the knife. Who are we going to believe, ladies and gentlemen? Who are we going to believe? Or better yet, are we going to believe any of them? You've got to decide that. But is there evidence that would corroborate what Mr. Love was telling you? Mr. Riley was on top of him, pounding away. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that if Mr. Riley was on top of Mr. Love, pounding away, there would have been more than just one injury to the arm. Even if it was a superficial scratch or something like that, you don't stand over the top of somebody with that knife pounding away such as that and not even nickel. He did all that, and the only thing Mr. Love has is a puncture wound to the arm. That's it. Don't buy it, ladies and gentlemen. It's not consistent. It's not corroborated. Mr. Love can't tell you how he was injured. He can't tell you how he was stabbed. And I submit to you that none of these others can either. Oh, here's another thing. Got that when Mr. Love told you that when you come back in the store, Mr. Riley had walked off and Mr. Riley said, "I got something for you." Mr. Love still went back outside. You ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, is that against Mr. Love's will to go back outside? It's not. Very much willingly participated in what was going on. He simply did not obviously like the outcome of being injured. You've got all of these people who were there. Their stories are here, there, and everywhere about what happened. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, the evidence has to convince you beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Riley's guilty. And when you have stories that are here, there, everywhere, that are inconsistent, that aren't credible, you have to say, hey, is that proof beyond a reasonable doubt? I submit to you that it's not. But a few of the things that I want to talk to you about is that the state is bent and determined to put this knife in Mr. Riley's possession. But what has the other evidence told us in this case? We don't have Mr. Riley's fingerprint on that knife. We don't have Mr. Riley's DNA on that knife. His DNA was sent to the lab. They had it. They tested the item. Mr. Love's blood was on it. There was potentially evidence of another person's DNA on the knife, but she couldn't tell you that it was Mr. Riley's DNA. And we also know that we had an unknown female standing around dangling the knife. Is that the person whose other DNA? She couldn't tell you, did it belong to that person? No. We know that there was a fingerprint found on the knife. And we know that Mr. Riley's fingerprints were sent to FDLE. They were compared. And it wasn't Mr. Riley's fingerprint on the knife. We heard from Miss Wilkerson that she doesn't mess with the blade because the blade is smooth, and that's where they were likely get a fingerprint from. So we have a fingerprint on the knife. It's not Mr. Riley. Well, did you bother to send Mr. Love's fingerprints to FDLE to have it tested that perhaps it was Mr. Love's fingerprint that was found on that knife? No, we didn't do that. Y'all saw Investigator Greenwood when I asked him. Saw his reaction. You saw his response when I asked him about sending Mr. Love's fingerprints to FDLE for comparison. I mean, it was a look of shock and surprise, and then he had to look back and tell me, no, didn't do that. Why not? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Does that create reasonable doubt in your mind as to why law enforcement why they didn't submit his fingerprints? This unidentified female that's out there in the parking lot holding the knife. What efforts were made to identify who this person was and find out what she might have saw since she was there? Right? They didn't do anything. Watch the video, you can see the young lady, whoever she is, clearly made a transaction at the register using a card. How hard would it have been to have gone back and identified who this lady was, contacted her to find out what she saw during this whole incident? We didn't bother to do that. Didn't bother to do it. So ladies, at the end of the day, you heard the testimony. And two things you can be convinced of. You can be convinced that Mr. Riley and Mr. Love were engaged in a fight. And there's obviously evidence that Mr. Love received an injury to his left arm, left bicep area. But the circumstances surrounding how Mr. Love got that injury, there's reasonable doubt. We don't know if well, I mean, was Mr. Riley, was he trying to defend himself at the time? We don't even have any evidence, and Mr. Riley is the one, credible evidence, Mr. Riley is the one who stuck or stabbed Mr. Love. Nobody saw that. Mr. Riley, Mr. Love couldn't tell you, and those other witnesses couldn't tell you. They just know they're out there tussling, there's argument, and all of a sudden Mr. Love is bleeding. And we got some witnesses saying that he was being pounded, some witnesses saying he was sliced. What story do we believe, and do either one of them prove beyond a reasonable doubt? I submit to you they don't. And I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that we are in the same position now as we were when this case got started this morning. And the state has simply not proven beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Riley is guilty of aggravated battery. All we know is there was a fight between two grown men who were willing participants. And somewhere in the course of it, Mr. Love got injured. But we can't say how it happened. The witnesses simply aren't there. The evidence simply is not there. So I ask that you find Mr. Riley not guilty. Thank you.
Ms. Smith.
Did that sway you guys at all? She's going to do rebuttal now. And I might need to move my face because I think she uses this bottom corner. But I thought it was pretty good. I thought he did very well with reasonable doubt. Steve, I think he's suggesting that it was in the scuffle, like while the knife was flying around. Yeah, I also wish I had a little bit of a closer view. Last person who stabbed DNA. Thanks, Bug. It's not a bandage. It's to warm up my wrists. My wrists are so cold. And I tend to have, what do you call it? It's got like a fancy name. But the tendon in my thumbs, because I type a lot, like my posture. That's why I've been so obsessed with ergonomics at the moment, is because I'm so sick of having tension from doing my job. Like, so I'm trying to keep my wrists warm. I've got the heater going. I don't know how loud it is for you guys because it's right behind me. I've not finished all of yesterday, but I think he stabbed him to get out of the chokehold. Maybe. Yeah, it is cold. It is cold today. Not carpal tunnel. It's got like a person's name. Carpal tunnel is more like in, hello, can you pick it up? It's more like here. This is the one that runs from my thumb. Thumb strain. Anyway, you wear a thumb brace and it sorts itself out. It's also from cell phones, from the scrolling and the typing. Morning, Misty. Oopsie. Before we go back to that, I just want to show you guys something. Also how delayed YouTube is, but oh, it doesn't play as a PDF, but anyway, let me show you. So this, people get on the plane. High five, Vicky McCullum. You have enough fans to fill a jumbo jet. Your channel is up to 500 subscribers. That's awesome. We can't wait to see where you'll take your channel next. Got that this morning. Oh, wait, I'm in the way. That's the little plaque thing. Let me just bring myself back. It's not arthritis or tendonitis, but it's kind of like tendonitis. Dementia, maybe. My thumb hurt the worst with carpal tunnel. I had surgery and it's all good now. I did consider it. I considered getting them to scan it because it was really annoying me. But then once I started using the brace, I was fine. I just wish I could remember this name. Thumb strain name. Dick, it's this. I'll paste it. Apparently, the day that I went and saw my doctor about it, she had already had 3 other people that day, and it was like midday because we're all using phones and whatever. I think I just want to like have surgery on all the things that aren't getting better because my knee's still sore from Edinburgh. But you know what it all boils down to is weakness in other muscles that's causing it. Like my thumb seems to be because my ankles aren't very weak. Not my thumb, my knee is because my ankles are very weak. Okay, I'm gonna put it on full screen, and then I'm also gonna quickly grab some food, but I'll be listening.
Just for the record, this is 40. See it count now. Sorry, I had it queued up at computer and had its own mind, so we'll let that download a little bit. I think that Mr. Hill, he must have heard and seen different things than I did. Okay, it's back up. Let's look at this. What did you just see? That is Sydney Love running backwards. And that man, this is the state of Florida versus Demetrius Riley. That man's coming at him. By you. Screenshot. That's what you just saw. That is Sydney Love with this white hand is running backwards. This is the defendant. Look right here, ladies and gentlemen, where the white is. See something in his hand? 5B is back here. Now where is his movement of his arm, of his hand? Look right here where the blue cursor is. Something in his hand. 5W, where's his arm now? Who used that motion when they were testifying? Swung like that. What do you see in that photograph? 5W. And then 5X when it comes down. That is Sydney Love retreating. That is Sydney Love backing up. That is not Sydney Love consenting to being stabbed by a knife. What we saw on that video is words only from Sydney Love when he's standing there talking back. What did that man do? Who was upset? Who was mad? Mr. Hill's absolutely right. It's not a crime to be mad at your girlfriend. It's not a crime to go to her work. You know what is a crime? When you're so mad about that, you fought with her for 13 minutes. The guy that you think is sleeping with your girlfriend is there. You go have words with him. You're still having words with him. That's the crime. Having this knife and using it to stab someone, that is a crime. And that's what he did. Mr. Hill talked to you a little bit about that knife. We know that that knife found was the knife used because it has Mr. Love's DNA on it. And what the expert said, Ms. Wilkerson, is that there were two other contributors. There just wasn't enough to interpret the data. And what do we know from the video evidence? We know that Mr. Love got stabbed. And by the way, I submit to you, we know how he got stabbed. By that man and this knife. Jasmine told you. Mr. Love told you he got stabbed. He has adrenaline going. He is running backwards. What did other witnesses tell you? That the defendant is chasing him, that he backed up and the defendant chased him through the parking lot. But we also know from the video evidence that the defendant had that weapon. We know from the witnesses, Van and Otero, he had that weapon. And we saw the other lady holding the knife for a period of time, walking around with it. So we know, besides Mr. Love, who got stabbed with it because his blood's on it, that two other people did touch it. And that's what the data shows. There was two other contributors. There just wasn't enough to interpret it. That means to find out who exactly was on the knife. You know, the video that we just saw too. Did you see how many times Jasmine, who was pregnant at the time, tried to stop the defendant? She tried to stop him when he first went out, and then when he came back. And as Mr. Hill said, ding, ding, ding. What did Ashley Cloud tell you? Someone who has dated, been with the defendant for 8 months. What was the testimony? Who was known to have a knife on them? And where would he wear that knife? On his belt. I ask you to pay close attention to the knife. When you look at it, you look at the photographs, and like I said, if you want to see it, that can be accomplished. It's got a clip on it. Easy to put on his belt. And all the testimony was that only Demetrius Riley had a weapon, never, ever, ever Sydney Love. Mr. Hill wants you to discredit Ashley Cloud, Jasmine Otero, Antoine Van. But let's talk about how their testimony is corroborated. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a chaotic, there was commotion, there was fighting, they're at work, there's other people. You got to see the video of it. I submit to you, emotions were high. Jasmine told us she tried to stop him. What did we see on the video? She tried to stop him. Everyone said, or excuse me, Love said, Van said, Otero said, the defendant had a knife. Submit to you, that's what we see on the video. Van, Otero, Love said he was backing up, that the city Love was backing up. He told you he was backing up. Van, I'm sorry, not Van, but Otero said he was backing up. What do we see on that video? Sydney Love backing up and the defendant coming at her. What corroborates what Van said? Remember the motion that he used on the video. Otero said the defendant went out, swung first, that he was the aggressor. So that's what we saw in the video. Mr. Love told you that he had the defendant in a headlock. What did Van say? At one point they were on the ground and it looked like Sydney had him in a headlock. That a knife was used. That it was kicked at some point. They weren't sure who kicked it. Remember what Mr. Van said, I'm not sure if it was me, I'm not sure if it was my mom. Once again, y'all, it was chaotic. Someone had been stabbed. What was the testimony to? There was blood everywhere. Lots of blood. What did we see in the video? You can see it coming down Sydney Love's arm. You can see Antoine Van at one point with blood down him. What did he say? I had to wash twice. About the times when they showed up, we saw that on the video. They're all outside around the same time. I remember Mr. Van's testimony being the first time I saw him, he was over there arguing with my mom or talking with my mom in the back. Video shows them all getting there at the same time. But Jasmine told you that. Once again, I remind you that it is only the two elements that the state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't have to prove who got there, when they got there, who they rode with. To prove the crime of aggravated battery, the state must prove two elements beyond a reasonable doubt. Another way that the witnesses corroborated. What did Mr. Love, Mr. Van, Ms. Otero, and Ms. Cloud tell you? That Ashley Cloud and the defendant were over there 10 to 15 minutes. We know from the video evidence it was 13 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, the witnesses came in here and told you what they remembered, what they saw. I submit to you that everything you've heard today, the videos that you've seen, the evidence proves those two elements beyond to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. Demetrius Riley is an adult. And like we talked about in jury selection on Monday, I ask that you find him guilty as charged of aggravated battery and hold him accountable for the actions that he did on August 8th of 2023.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are some general rules that apply to your discussion. You must follow these rules in order to return a lawful verdict. 1, you must follow the law as.
Do you want to hear these? Should we skip? I'm tempted to skip because I only have 10 minutes left of lunch, and I'm going to need the thing that I need to focus on is something I need to listen to. So, oh, I just scratched my eye and I've got mascara on. Skip. Okay. Agreed.
The way you do your closing.
Thank you.
And I've seen it where for 9.5 years when I was chief.
Ms. Jessica Clark as the alternate. Ms. Jessica Clark as the alternate. So for the rest of you, if you will, leave your cell phones here. You can take your notes. If you were retired to deliberate, and Ms. Clark, if you'll stay here with us.
Yes, sir.
A seat in the audience.
You never know. Do the best you can, what you got.
Oh, yeah. I see some crazy trial down there.
But I can tell you, I've had
Hell's
some.
Angels to a woman being pregnant, and abducted, raped, and shot.
Yeah. I've had some good mentors over the years because, like I said, when I first started over here, I like a better word, I got thrown to the wolves because I was a rookie attorney starting the state attorney's office. I mean, I started in August of 2000, and Judge Whitten was the prosecutor here, and he was going to be my boss. Well, in the meantime, he got appointed to the county bench. So by the time I started, we worked from August until November of 2000, and then he went to the bench, and then Alton Paul would come over to Panama. He was the chief. He would come over and go to court with me. And it wasn't sometime in mid 2001, I think it was. I mean, they basically just turned me loose over here. And Alton would come over on major cases. And I mean, I had felony, misdemeanor, juvenile, I had the whole kit caboodle. And I mean, I tried a bunch of cases, lost some as a prosecutor, but I learned a lot. And then having time to work and watch other senior attorneys over the years and kind of figure out, not necessarily you don't want to be somebody, but you got to be yourself. You got to be what's comfortable for you. And that's what's helped me over the years is.
When I first got bailiff's office in Lake County, Mark Hill was a lawyer at the time, excellent lawyer. Well, they put him on the bench at First County. Well, then he went to circuit, but you remind me a lot of him. He was really good, really good. And when he got to be a judge, he was excellent. He was pretty good there. So then I went to Sumter County I was chief bailiff for 9.5 years there, and I seen some crazy cases.
A lot of times, I think young lawyers they get started and I found myself guilty of it too. That you pick one or two attorneys out there that you want to be like, and it's like kids playing sports. You get an athlete and you want to imitate that athlete, and I'm thinking as long as you're trying to imitate somebody, you're not going to be natural. I mean, you gotta do something. You gotta be yourself and be comfortable.
This is a lesson I learned in radio as well, because someone told me so these people won't make any sense to any of you, but for really for South African radio, there were people that I'd listened to since I was a kid, and I wanted to be so much like them. And then someone said to me, why would they hire another one of that person? They're not looking for that. They're looking for someone not like that person because they have that person. They don't need another one. So true, though. What you all dolled up for? I had one of those everything showers, and my face was looking a bit red, and I was looking very tired. So I just want, and also the lighting in here is very bright, so I feel like makeup is a necessity. There's a jury question. Steve, I'm going to try to stick around for some of this lawyer chat because I'm interested. They already have that person. They don't have you. I also feel like I'm doing something wrong, but hey, it's online. Soz. Oh, but also I'm 100%, and I can say that because I'm not that close to the back door, but we have a neighbor who has scandalous life. Now we're friends. But not like friends that she tells me are scandals. She has a scandalous life, and she phones people like at the part of her property that's close to our property because we're in a gated community. And I would 100% be that person sitting outside, pretending I'm doing gardening, listening to her. Oh, I even got to know the people that she was talking about. I got to follow their storyline until one of them was cut from the rotation.
I went to we changed hands, sheriff and all that. The sheriff's cousin took my position, and they didn't know.
Sorry, let me explain this quickly before we jump back in. Washing my hair, exfoliating my face. If I were to not be so lazy, then doing hair removal, but lazy, so I didn't. Just one of those when you from top to toe, yes, shaving, just getting yourself sorted from absolute top to toe.
Promoted me, put me on the road. That station attorney's office down there just wasn't worth a damn. Me and another deputy was fighting a girl. She's about 140 pounds. She was wiry. She loved to fight, so we were trying to hold her, and we got her down on the floor, and we had her rolled over on her stomach. Well, the other deputy lost hope. And when he did, she rolled over and looked me right straight in the face. She headbutted me. Your front 4 teeth
Yeah.
are not mine. Kind of broke my nose, black both eyes.
Yeah.
You know, state attorney on there says, we don't really want to prosecute this. So why? You got video of all this. You got, resisting arrest with major bodily injury. Well, they turn her loose. I likely got in really big trouble because I told that lawyer what I thought of him. So every time now, take these 4 out, I think of that girl. They do a dang thing to her, no probation or nothing.
They still, like you said, they're still out of it.
But I enjoyed yours closing. It was really good.
I appreciate it. Yes.
So since he's maybe been charged with being like a. Okay, sorry.
Yes. Coming back next week. I know
This
she's
is-
got a boot on her foot. But.
I'm not out again.
I did leave.
It was pretty touchy, and it probably was not as. I think.
Tea time on Table Mountain. Question, because you might have just missed my conversation about South African radio. Out of interest, in all time, who has been your favorite radio person? Because obviously, like, people don't listen to radio as much anymore. But I want to know who was the favorite. Obviously, I'm a 5FM kind of gal, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
Main City gun to work.
Thank you. All right, we are back on the record. Mr. Riley is present.
Wait.
Council, we received a note.
I've got to go back to work like in a minute or two, but I have to tell you guys this thing. Oh my gosh. So you guys met Jess, my friend that I was showing around Cape Town or whatever. We met on Bumble BFF. I haven't been on pretty much since her and I made friends because like we literally just clicked. It was like perfect match. So anyway, I went on to Bumble BFF and I matched with someone that sounds like very much like me. So we exchanged WhatsApp numbers because neither of us go on the app very often. So I wish I could share my screen, but I can't. Basically, the first message I sent is, "Hey, it's Vicky from Bumble. I always forget about the app too." Then she's like, "Hey, girl. Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. Don't know how I've been so bad with messages lately." So I said, "I'm always bad with messages." Then while we were streaming, I thought I was typing to Vaughn. Instead, I wrote to her, "Also, the camera won't show you at all." Smiley face. So she replies, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Sorry, I was streaming and I was trying to quickly type to my fiance on WhatsApp web." And I sent the stream just to show, like, just to show that I was actually streaming. She hasn't replied. Like, I'm dying. Like, the camera won't see you. What? Without context. That. Oh. Anyway, let me quickly catch up on these and then go back to work and then can basically tell you what happens to the tractor if you haven't finished it already. Basically, it doesn't fix it. Well, he fixes it. One problem also. One other problem is that's funny. where I worked, I could only listen to radio going to and from. I used to have the radio on 24/7, and then I worked in it, and then things moved more towards podcasting, and I don't know. Been living in the States for 38 years, so I'm out of the loop. I'm an old lady. I really loved Springbok radio back in the day. Well, let me tell you something. Rian Krijwagen used to come and record some of his radio stories. When I was in studio, I'd see him going past. He's so tall. There was one convo about how when you're little down there, they teach you to speak, but not in the southern accent. Wait. When you're little down there, not like down there, not like little down there, but like down there where they are, right? Ghosted. Could have been worse. I don't know if it could have. Don't know if it could have because I wish I could have said hack, but I didn't even think about it. I was in such a panic. Like my face is burning up even thinking about it. Now she's probably watching the stream because I sent the stream, and now I'm just like, oh my gosh. Rian Krijwagen was the original Afrikaans news anchor, the first South African news anchor on TV. In the south. Oh, okay, I thought you meant like down there. Okay, guys, I'm going to switch over and then I'll pop back to stretch and whatever.
The note from the jury, it reads as follows, quote, "We would like to see the colored video of 5U so we can blow images up," unquote. So 5U, I believe, is a photograph, correct?
5U is a photograph of, and it was taken from 4B.
Okay. So we
Let
can,
me just double check. I'm very almost positive. You have your book. I got my book.
They're entitled to view the video here in court. But as far as blowing up any images, they have to allow images that are evidence. They modify the images beyond what's already in evidence.
I agree with that. I intend to explain 5U is a still photograph of states or from states exhibit. And which exhibit is that, Ms. Smith?
4B, Judge.
4B. We I intend to bring them back out and read 5U as a still photograph from States Exhibit 4B. We can replay the video, but we cannot otherwise blow up, using their language, any photograph. Okay.
Objection, Judge.
Okay, any objection from the state?
No,
And do we have 4B ready?
I can, Judge. I had it ready before my closing and it,
Yes, ma'am.
so I'll try, but I might have to. I'll get it ready.
And they specifically asked for the colored video, so it's 4B colored video?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is one where we just, even when it's been during trial as well as closing, we fast forwarded it, so, for parts of it, so I don't know if you want to. If they want, you know, I just don't, if they do want to watch it, Judge, I can start, or do you want me to get it? queued up?
Yeah, they just asked to see the colored video or 5U. I'm not sure what 5U is.
It is it's, I can get it to that part, it's where, Mr. Love's backing our judge, and it's one of Love and the defendant out, that's the view of the phone.
Do you agree with that, Mr. Hill? Yes, so we can start there.
I would just back it up about 10 or 15, 20 seconds before that way.
Yes.
Or you can get it to the beginning of that particular segment of the.
And we can go off the record until we get the video ready. No problem. All right, let's all stand as the jury ends.
Can we get close to the screen? None of us could really see. And can we blow it up any kind of way?
Well, if y'all just take a seat. I'm going to address all that for you.
Oh, okay.
Closer. All right, please be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the jury's present, defendants present. We received a note from the jury. It reads, we would like to see the colored video of 5U so we can blow images up. I've spoke with the lawyers. 5U, as you know, is a still photograph from State's Exhibit 4B. We can replay the video, but we cannot otherwise blow up any photograph. I did not know, I believe as the jury was entering, one or two of the jurors said they could not see or had a difficult time seeing the screen. I have no problem if you all want to leave the jury box and reposition yourselves in front of the TV if you're having problems seeing the screen from where you are currently seated. So if anybody needs to stand up and reposition themselves, you're free to do so. Any objection, Ms.?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and press play, and this is State's Exhibit 4B. If you need us to stop the video, any objection to that? I believe we want us to stop where 5U, the still photograph, was taken. We'll try our best to stop at that moment. Okay.
or one. Have to have it smaller to have the fall off.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, would you like us to replay the video again?
That's where could we see the one picture, the still pictures and have that blown up?
Unfortunately, what has been admitted into evidence is what the jury is allowed to consider. I can't, otherwise,
You can't one of those pictures that's in evidence blown up?
I can't do anything with whatever's been admitted in evidence. That's what you all have to consider. I can't blow it up. I can't reposition it. If you all need to see the video again, from which that still photograph was taken, we can play that as many times as you like. Yes, in one moment, ma'am. You have with you in the deliberation room, the state is going to put 5U on the screen, just as it was presented during the trial. Unfortunately, the rules only allow me to present to you all, or you all to consider what was presented during the trial. Again, if you have that photograph in the back, if you need if someone's having vision problems or can't see, if you need a magnifying glass, I'm not sure if we have one. If you want to see the video again, I can play that, and of course, that's Exhibit 5U.
Can we go back to the video and then can I say stop? And I stop it.
Are you asking that we stop the video exactly where Exhibit 5U was taken from?
It's another spot.
Okay. What spot is that?
Now, it was when Mrs. Tara actually was trying to get him to come back in, I think. It was this.
Okay, don't, but I believe
know how to
the
tell
witness, you want us to stop where there's what's the witness name?
As he was going out to the right.
Ashley McLeod was trying to stop whom?
Actually, Brown was trying to stop.
Mr. Riley?
Right.
Okay, do we know, is that,
When he's heading back to the right.
okay, Mr. Hill, Ms. Smith, can I see you all? Yes, with the court reporter.
If you've been sitting the whole time, this is your time to stand up and stretch.
And please have a seat if you will. Have a seat wherever you want while the video is loading.
Move into 2119. State's Exhibit 4. All right, ladies and gentlemen, would you like for us to replay the video again from anyone? Okay, everyone shaking their head no. All right, we'll all stand as you exit to continue your deliberations, and I'll check in a few minutes as to comfort. Thank you. Be seated. Madam Reporter, here is the juror note and back to written responses. And okay. All right, we'll be in recess until we hear from the jury. It's time about 7:30. I'm gonna see if they want any food. What are our food options? Rich Wall.
Burger King.
I'll wait.
No, they don't.
They don't even-
Hey, I'm still in jury trial. I am.
Christmas Eve. Judge called the jury out, says, "Look, you're not getting this other, not getting anything else for you to bring. We'll have a verdict tonight, or we'll be here in the morning, no questions yet." 20 minutes later, something got to do it through.
Let me tell you, I have.
Okay. In the interest of time,
Thank you all. Please be seated.
skipping to the verdict. Are you guys ready?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm told that you all have reached a verdict. Sir, if you would please pass the verdict form to the bailiff.
I can always, because I have this saved, I can always just keep the hot mic. Okay, we're ready. I have changed mine to not guilty. Let's go. I always get nervous like it's me.
The verdict is in order. Mr. Riley, if you will please stand as the clerk publishes the verdict.
Porter versus Demetrius Lamar Riley. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant, Demetrius Lamar Riley, in this case. The defendant is guilty of battery, a lesser included offense, so say we all day, this 12th day of June, 2024. Jamie Clayton, court person.
All right. Mr. Hill or Ms. Smith, would you all like the jury polled?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Madam Clerk, if you'll please poll the jury.
Ms. Hill, is this your verdict? Ms. Conkle, is this your verdict? Ms. Nickel, is this your verdict? Ms. Gaddy, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Mr. Clayton, is this your verdict? Ms. Roberts, is this your verdict?
All righty, thank you. Please be seated. All right, Mr. Riley, a jury of your peers haven't found you guilty of misdemeanor battery. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and impose sentence right now. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of battery. I'm going to sentence you into the Gulf County Jail for 364 days, given credit for the time that you have served. And I believe you were arrested in August of last year, August 9th of 2023.
Oh.
So that will. August 10th. 2 months. It was 310 days jail credit. So you'll be sentenced to 364 days, 310 days jail credit. You'll be given court cost fines of an amount of $500 that will be reduced to a civil judgment. You got 30 days from today to appeal the judgment sentence of the court. If you cannot afford an attorney, it won't be provided for you. Best of luck. Yes. Now reserve jurisdiction as to restitution. Yes, and during the time for the, you have no contact with the victim in this case. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a long day and I wish to thank you for your time, your attention, and your hard work. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors.
Okay, we know the privileges. Boring. Boo boo. Okay, so I didn't expect it to be guilty of the lesser. I think that that defense attorney got him out on his closing. I mean, out of the bigger charge. I was solely on guilty until the closing. And they say, what does Peter Tragos always say? You win the jury in opening, you seal it in closing, something like that. Okay, let me quickly catch up on messages, and then we're going to say goodbye, and then I'm going to put my head down, and I'm going to get all 4 things done, and I will need you guys to hold me to it. Also, it's 14:29 here, so just in case you guys are wondering, it's 6 a.m. in the morning. Also, I hate when people say 6 a.m. in the morning. A.m. is clearly in the morning. I actually like hearing people talk about food, what they're gonna have. It's so funny. Vaughn needs to use the blender quick. Give me 1 sec. I want to unmute the mic. Hopefully my mic doesn't kill your ears, but please tell me if it does, because I need to know for future. Well, for future, I'll be back in my office. I didn't want to play verdict music because I didn't want to copy RA. Like, yeah. My hair is down. I had an everything shower. Thank you. I need my bangs cut again, though, because I don't like the over to the side thing. Also, Brandy sent me the song, and so I have it on my playlist too. I think they got it right. You can go for it. How loud is that for you guys? Is it like crazy loud? 50 more days is not bad at all. Watching the video. Yep, they were ready to fight. They were going to fight. And I think that they were having a little hanky-pank at work there, those two. Time zones don't change in the UK. Yes, they do. You guys have change in time zone all the time, though. The millennial side part. Oh, no. Don't say that. Oh, no. Oh, okay. They can't even hear the blender. He's got noise cancelling on, so he probably can't hear me either. Thank you. It has been down for a lot of my lives, but because it's at the end of the day, normally I'm like pulling the parts that get in my face out. Evie, now I'm gonna have to like cut my bangs this evening. I'm so glad you guys can't hear the blender. Should have the blender noise for the verdict. Fawn? You can't hear me. They never hear us. Uh-huh. Right. Okay. So Recovery Addict is live in 12 minutes 10. Now that we know the verdict, do we just hop back and listen to the mic, the hot mic? Some ADHD verdict music. I might be able to do that. Let's see. Wonder what happens if you search ADHD in mood. Exciting. Let's see. This sounds fun. Let's win this. Why do I kind of love it? Okay. Is that the one? I'm getting mixed messages here though. Love a hot mic moment, and then the other one is about the music. So
Crazy. I gotta break on myself, I amaze me. I know I'm got something that can phase me. It's going crazy. I gotta break.
no, I think that other weird one is the one. No. It needs to be more anxiety inducing. Tense. See, cinematic is not the right one because then it's just, let's see. Whoa. This one's intense. That is so hectic. There is no time. That one will do my head in at the end of a long day. I'm telling you that. That just speaks to DJ Vicky. Yeah, it's been so long since I DJ'd. I could probably spend, like, honestly, when I was first editing my own vlogs, one of the reasons why I got a video editor was because I would spend way too long going down a music rabbit hole, and I would have this very specific thing in my head when I was filming the thing, and I wouldn't be able to, like, put a timer on it and say I'm going to stop at this point. So now I have an editor that knows what I like, and I trust her, and I leave it to her. Voting this one or Blender, to be honest, the Blender is not going to work for me because then every time I hear it, I'm going to come back like, because I have sensory processing. So, 7 minutes 50. I'm going to try and get in this quickly, and then let's see. Yes, but I still don't know how to portal.
Hey, I'm still in jury trial. I am.
Yeah. 20 minutes later, something got to do it through.
I have.
You're taking a picture of the building already.
I've got the instructions. I just can't find that button.
Hang on. Hang on.
And then when we portal, we can say returns on max if it is what it is and it is what it isn't. I've been making merch because when I get the milestone, then I can have a merch shop.
I had to learn how we made it bad company. I stay home, watch me eat everything. Go shop, find some. Yeah. But them shoes I was sticking back here. That was all right for me.
Agreed.
So I had to put these low.
I guess I don't have all three of them tomorrow.
But it wasn't
Josh, right? Go and go keep her.
The surgery says, oh, we can't do. And she said, he did surgery previously.
I'll take up to about sabotage that air conditioner. So. Hey, Rick, we'll just turn off the air conditioner.
It's either on or off.
Oh, you know what else? Judge Middleton has a difficult tenant today too.
Yeah.
I don't bother. I haven't worn one since the panoramic. Could not be bothered. Hate them.
Because I was like, oh, don't you know that that's so? I didn't even notice the song.
Sorry, guys. Someone tried to phone me.
Well, that's no, it's $1,000.
Are we back?
No, I remember one of my girlfriends.
That was raised when I was working on my city. Raised there until about 10 or 12 over in Springfield. I lived on Bob Little Road.
Yeah.
That's my dad.
Seeing your face.
Big old two-story house at the very end of it where it's turned, you know?
Yeah,
You know, I can remember when 98 around in the back.
Oh,
There's
really?
no dirt road.
Oh, wow.
Or you know, uh,
I'm good. Even though I got two.
200, I'm sorry, that's what you're talking about.
Go to my friend's house.
And I call you, you'll be on.
They just looked at me.
But that's what I'm worried about, is that little boy is home right now. I school, I have a 13-year-old dog. That's how I'm. And so, oh, and so, they're.
This is connected to them, too.
I've never had a dog that fights. Yes. And I've seen her brushing her teeth and jumps up. And I was like, oh, no. So I said,
Time for RA.
"Maybe like that."
They do.
It's like, "Were you about to learn rope?" I
said, oh, what it was 1970.
So when he tried to jump up on me, so I just started like, "Come on, staff," and I was like, no.
Okay, might as well say goodbye now. I just added a. So I call. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. But we might as well all head over to Recovery Addict because he's going to start any minute now. And then if he takes a break this evening and I'm not still working, then or something else, then I'll hop on and carry on with Dale. Dale? Yes, Dale and Dee. I just missed all the conversation about boobies. Whatever. Free them. Do your thing. No one cares. There we go. Recovery Addicts Live. I'll see you guys there.